excited to have with me today Dr. Angela Kingdon to talk about ADHD, autism, AuDHD, how all of these experiences sometimes intertwine, and how we can look at really systems that work with the neurodivergent brain instead of working against it. So, Angela, welcome. Will you start by letting everybody know who you are and what you do?
Sure, absolutely. Thanks for having me here, first of all. Longtime listener, first time caller. So I love this show. It's been
Awesome.
in my rotation of amazingly helpful podcasts. I so I run a podcast network, which is called the Autistic Culture Podcast Network. And I run the network really because podcasts saved my life. So, about 5 years ago now, I hit burnout. I actually had been diagnosed. So, my diagnosis story is the flip of everyone else's, I think. But um, I had a life that was weirdly and coincidentally perfectly set up for my neurodivergent quirks. And then I got diagnosed, and I was not somebody that has like traditionally female autism or like mask. I actually wasn't very good at masking at all. And that created other problems in my life. But then when I got diagnosed, I was sent to cognitive behavioral therapy and I learned how to mask for the first time in my life.
Yeah.
And it was the first time in my life I had friends. It was the first time in my life I had a relationship. I went out. I had a super successful career. I weirdly became famous on the internet. Um, and then I burned out. So I learned how to mask. CBT taught me how to mask. And then I got
Mm,
an A in it. So I didn't even know it was an option. And I was like,
right.
wow, this is how you play this game? And then I burned out absolutely spectacularly. And during my burnout, the only thing I could do was listen to podcasts.
Mm,
And that became my special interest. That became my lifeline. Before I was a reader and I lost my ability to read, I somehow couldn't listen to audiobooks. There was like grief associated with it somehow.
mm,
But podcasts, which just felt like talking to a friend,
yeah.
saved my life. And I came back and started a podcast and then started two more and then helped a bunch of people with their podcasts. And now we have, I think, 33 podcasts that are either live or in
Mm,
various states of production. So it's pretty exciting because I do think we need to hear from all different we all have different experiences,
of course.
we all need different tools. And so having a variety of ages and life stages and experiences and chronic conditions and different types of kids that we're dealing with. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that is if you find the podcast at the right time, it can just be really helpful. So hopefully we'll give some people some tips today.
Yeah. And so your podcast network, if I understand, all the podcasts are hosted by autistic individuals. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say
So,
most are probably AuDHD or
mhm,
I like what you say, beautifully complex. We've
yep.
got a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is based on the idea that while we have medical issues, we are not a medical issue. We are a culture.
Mm, love that. Just a
So
neurotype, right?
yeah, just a
A
neurotype, just a different
neurotype.
operating system.
Hmm. Just, just a completely different operating system, right?
Yeah. Stuck in this world where we're expected to operate like a PC and we're out here operating like a Unix system or something.
Yeah, yeah. I think that leads right into this conversation about systems too. Like this
Mm.
world is full of systems, societal systems, cultural systems, all of these um, different entities that we ask our kids, we ask adults to not just function in, but succeed in, right? We want everyone to succeed in these systems. And they don't work for everyone. They weren't made for everyone. Do you want to define when you talk about systems and systems that do work with the brain, what
Mm.
does that word mean to you? What are we really talking about there?
Well, because we live in the world, there are systems that we have no control of, like the way you get a driver's license or the way you get a high school diploma.
Yeah.
Like there are certain systems, I don't know, I guess we can vote, but we're probably not in our lifetime going to change the way the process to get a library book out works. If you don't like the fluorescent lights in the library, there's not a whole lot you're going to do to change the library.
Right.
And so my focus is on what are the ways that we do control the way we operate that we can create for us. So, for instance, just what I mean by system might be I love to go to the library, which is true. I do not like the lights in the library and the hum of the lights in the
Mhm.
library. And so when I go to a library, I might I have a pair of sunglasses that are just like lightly tinted. So I might wear my lightly tinted prescription glasses and I would definitely wear my loop earplugs.
Mm.
So my system, this is like a little bit expensive. Not everybody could necessarily do this, but my system is I always keep a pair of loops in the car. Actually, the way that happened was I lost a pair and then I bought another pair and then I had an extra
Then you
pair.
found them?
So I always keep, yeah, an extra pair of loops in the car. I always keep sunglasses in the car. I have like a little kit. I always keep like a stim toy. And I will have like a little kit of things that I have in my house, I have in my car, I have in my purse. And I know my process when I'm going into a place like a grocery store or the library or things like that is to be over prepared. I literally have such an inability to control my body temperature.
Mhm.
Like, that's just me, right? I know that about me. So I have 3 scarves with me. I have a zip up sweatshirt, and then I'm always wearing 1 or 2 layers. So I can take off clothes or put on clothes. I can
Yeah.
wish that my body had the ability to self-regulate, but it doesn't. I could wish that I never needed to leave my house, and I do try and avoid leaving my house. I still can't regulate my body temperature in my house, but it's like, so I need to create a system or a way of operating that works this way 100% of the time that's going to make all the other systems I have no control of more manageable.
Yeah. Yeah. A way of
That's how I think of it.
operating.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and for me because I am autistic, I find great relief and comfort creating new systems. So I'll
Mm.
think of something, I'll be like, God, I wish I had something. Earphones in every room, and then I will find the right container, I will find the right earphones, I will set up everything because I love building systems. But I also recognize like that is not always a comforting word to everyone. My son is AuDHD, and he feels like there's so many systems I have to comply with all day long.
Yeah.
Do not give me one more system. And I'll give you my little hack for that. The system is, for him, reduce the number of systems.
Mm.
That is a system.
Mhm.
So it's really identifying what works for you now, creating space for that to change, and having the process to accommodate yourself as much as possible.
Mm.
That's really it. So it's
Yeah.
environmental, but it's also psychological, I think, to be like, I am allowed to not like the lights at the library. I'm also allowed to not
Yeah.
complain about it because complaining is also dysregulating for me.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I'm like,
And
okay,
those
if I'm,
around you.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Ooh, especially the
As
children.
parents know.
Oh, my goodness. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I'm
So
thinking
as
about like
I accommodate myself, that's the other thing is like, I can watch my son, who would never want to call it a system,
mm,
develop a system.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
he had the most elaborate system for studying for his SATs. And he got like very close to a perfect score on his SATs. He got under 1,000. I think he got like 860 or something on his PSATs. And then he developed this elaborate system to like, he just wanted to master it. It just became his like monotropic focus.
Yeah.
But if I called it a system, oh my God, Say that's
Mhm.
the system is don't call it a system. Mom, why do you have to have a system for everything? Okay,
Yeah,
my guy.
yeah. And that
Yeah.
brings up a point that I learned through the years of my own parenting is like sometimes we just have to call things something different. Like if
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
kids are resistant, it isn't always the actual thing that they're resisting. Sometimes it's the language and the packaging that we're putting it in that
Hmm.
doesn't feel right for them. So why
Yeah.
don't we ask them to say what it is, right? Like
Yeah.
why don't we ask them what's going to work for you and what do you want to call it?
Hmm.
Right? And just being open.
But you can see how I can see how that certain words or terms would be dysregulating.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that is a really big part of it is like, what makes this easy for me? What would make this easier for me? So like um I charge my phone with my phone has a USB-C charger, the new one. Um
Hmm.
and my microphone also uses a USB-C charger. And one of the things that like drives me crazy are cables. And so I don't leave my microphone out, but I podcast a lot, as you could imagine, since it's my career. And so every time I pulled my microphone out of the drawer of cables, I would be is like untangling a necklace.
Yeah.
Like I would be untangling this necklace and then I would be running late because I was untangling the necklace. And so I'd like try and calm myself down and like get into podcasting mode. And then I made like the simplest little change, which is I unplug my phone and I use that same USB-C to plug in. Instead, I don't have to use the cable that came with the
Right.
microphone.
Right.
I can just use any USB. And I know that's really small. And to me, when I call that a system, like I have a system for getting my microphone out and I have
Yeah.
simplified my system. Okay. Or you could just call it, I use the same cable. I mean,
Right.
it's
Or a
sometimes it
strategy.
works for, yeah.
Right. Like,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, it's like a little strategy. It's like a little tool. It's a little hack. It's whatever you want to call it. It's good.
Yeah.
How could you make your life easier? Because there's so many things you are not going to change the US tax code. Somebody
Right.
might, it won't be you and it won't be
Mhm.
today. Like there's so many things you're going to have no control of. What can you tame? What beasts can you tame today?
Yeah. Where is your influence lie? And we talk so much about that here with parents, like when I'm coaching parents. We can worry about a whole lot of things, and we're going to. We're parents. But if we can't influence those things we're worrying about, we're causing ourselves distress and the people around us distress, and nothing
Mhm.
is changing. So, how can we pivot to work on what we can work on?
Yeah.
Right? What can we control? It's a lot of work I've been doing with my own therapist too, because as she said in um, our first conversation with each other, um, you have some control issues.
Do I now?
You don't say. So I've learned to like think about when I'm feeling dysregulated because I don't have control, what thing can I do that gives me some control? And that can
Yep.
be in parenting, that can be personally, right? It can be in a lot of ways, but that really does provide relief to our nervous system to
Mhm.
find something that we can control when when we feel like we need that and we don't have it. Um,
One of my kind of the premise underneath the Autistic Culture Network is something that I call the 10 pillars of autistic culture. And so I looked at autistic traits through a lens like, so the guy who did the original research, his name is Gert Hofstetter. And when you get sent overseas, either with your company or with the government, there's a Gert Hofstetter training in that country's customs and mannerisms. So if you're going to South America and the party's at 8, show up at 9. If you're going to a party in Germany and the party's at 8, show up at 7:30.
wow.
What are all the different cultural differences that you need to know in order to be successful in business or diplomacy overseas? So I took that same framework and I
I love
applied it
that.
to autistic people. And pillar number 8, and I do think in many ways slightly differently, but this applies to ADHD people and then also slightly differently for like OCD. But pillar number 8, I call predictably comforting.
Mm.
And the idea behind it is why we often eat the same foods. And people are like, aren't you sick of those butter noodles? No, I am not. Or why we wear the same clothes. When Andy Warhol, who is autistic, died, they found 50 pairs of the same green underwear. When Stephen Sondheim died, who is also autistic, they found 50 boxes of Blackwing pencils. If you want to know the best pencil in the
Wow.
world, it's the Blackwing. They canceled it. Stephen Sondheim had a meltdown. He bought the whole factory, and then
Wow.
they brought it back very recently. They're really good. If you go to like museums, they'll often sell Blackwing pencils. So we find something that is the best for us, and we're like, why would I get up every morning and put on a different pair of underwear? Some might be comfortable, some might not. If I could just get 20 of the exact same underwear and eliminate that,
Yep.
that's one less thing. So I remember weirdly having like shame about that. I think I was really, really into, I'm going to date myself, but do you remember um, they were the sweaters from the Limited Express?
Yeah.
They were like these V-neck sweaters with like a wide cable. And I loved this sweater. And I remember having this thought in high school, I could wear this sweater every day. Like this sweater with leggings, this sweater with a belt around it. I'll get some that are bigger than others. And I literally bought every single color at the
Yeah.
Limited Express of this sweater. And it was all I wore. I think this was sophomore year of high school or something. And like people made fun of me. And
Mhm.
they're like, oh my, like literally, is that the only thing you wear? And the answer is yes, it is. Do you know how many other problems I have in my life? I am 15 years old. I'm going to eliminate not liking my outfit. I like
Yeah.
my outfit every day. I'm comfortable in my outfit every day. Sometimes I wear it backwards with the V in the back. Sometimes I wear it with a mini skirt. Like, I have eliminated the problem of not liking my outfits by wearing the same outfit.
Yeah. Yeah. I do the same thing sometimes if I'm like,
Mm,
"Ooh, I feel like I look good in this, like, I feel good in this. Is there another color? Can I have
yeah.
2?" Right? Like, why not? Why not
And then my
feel
question is, why do we feel like guilt and shame about this?
Mhm.
And I'm not saying everyone has to do it. Like if you get joy from wearing a different thing every day or fashion is your, interest or like go crazy.
Yeah.
But my mission of like finding systems that work with you is freeing you from the pressure to do things you don't have to do other people's way, their way. Like
Mhm.
the bank has a way for you to get a bank account that you're not going to change.
Right.
But what you wear when you go to the bank, you're in control of that.
Totally up
Why?
to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why give
Yeah.
up that autonomy? I guess it's
Mhm.
like I'm not a PDAer, but maybe this is why I'm not a PDAer because I'm so militant about identifying where do I have control and then taking
Right.
it all the way. So then I'm
Yeah.
not mad when sometimes I'm mad, but I'm not as mad when somebody makes me follow a process that I might not want because I'm not
Right.
imposing it on myself.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about parenting and how we help our kids figure out what systems work for
Mm.
them. Because as parents, we have an idea of what's going to work, what works for us, maybe, and
Mm.
we want to
Mhm.
impose that, right? Oh, well, a notebook for every class worked for me. So I'm going to get a notebook for every class for you. Or the teacher says this is the stuff you need for each class. And so that's what we're going to do, which I learned early on. I could challenge that. I could do it different. It was okay. Right. But
Wild,
like,
wild.
how do we lead into their way and not ours or what somebody else is trying to impose? How
Oh
do we
my
figure
God,
that out?
it's such a great question. And that is so much a part of the journey of parenting.
Mm-hmm.
I I guess, like, especially if we're thinking about older kid, like, to, like, puberty, like, up until 25. I heard this thing once as my kid was going into high school that really guided that journey for me, which was when your kid is a baby or even when you're pregnant and as they're growing up, you are their son. Their whole world revolves around
Mhm.
you. Like, if you're going to the bank, they go to the bank. If you're going to a haircut, they go to a haircut. If you want a purple baby carrier, they get a purple baby carrier.
Right.
And as they transition through puberty, you become their moon. You light
Mhm.
them in the dark. And so that was the shift that for me really helped. So earlier on when they're little, I think it was very obvious to me, like, we're going to do this my way. Like, I'm excited about systems, so we'll have lots of them. I'm going to color code your toys. I had all those IKEA calyx, the big
Yep.
squares. Like, the whole room was the squares. I have labels. I had a little P
Yep.
touch.
Yep.
I labeled everything.
Me too.
This did not work for my ADHD child, but it never even occurred to me because I thought it was my room. Like, when the
Mhm.
baby was inside me, he was mine, right? Then he came out and I'm doing everything and he's mine. But there's a day where he's his and he's not mine. And they don't tell you, like, they don't announce
Right.
it. And so I think that transition, that sun to moon parenting transition, I think when they're little and your systems are yours and you have to manage the day and you try and impose those systems, at some point when you notice they're not working,
Mm.
I wish I caught that sooner because I didn't create any space to even see my kids' way.
Yeah.
So now I can see it. Now I can see, like, I was excited about all the calyx cubes, but the reason why things weren't getting put away with the labels was because that's not how he would organize. It wasn't exciting. When I saw
Yeah.
everything put away, it looked really pretty to me.
Mhm.
But now my child has that form of organization, which I need to, like, respect because it really is. He's quite organized. He has to see everything.
Right.
So, you know that strategy of, like, taking the doors off the cabinets?
Yeah.
That's not my strategy, but that is definitely his strategy.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so how do you I don't know why I wanna use the word grief. So much of parenting is about grief for me.
It
But, like,
is. It is that.
'cause, like, my systems are so good. Why didn't I have the kid that was so excited? Like, I alphabetize and I color code, match by size. I can line up anything.
Yep.
And, like, my child needs, like, luckily, he had a really big room, which is great. It was kind of a weird, long, skinny room, but it was really big. And now I realize what I should have had are multiple surfaces at different heights where he could leave everything out. I wanted to put everything away.
Mhm.
And it made him so dysregulated because then he didn't have his toys.
Yeah.
So as I heard that piece of that sun moon advice, I wish I could remember her name. She's a poet that helps when your kid is going to college, but I just found her on Facebook and she was amazing. And as I found that, I realized that I needed to look for where he had systems that I might not have been honoring. Like, the word that came up now, this is partly because I have a son, maybe, but the word that came up was that he was feeling disrespected. And
Mhm.
and I
Yeah.
now think he was right because I thought your system is you're gonna have 2 piles of clothes on the floor that look the same to me, and you're gonna know one pile is dirty and one pile is clean. That's the system. I bought very nice hangers. They're color coded. Like, and I wasn't honoring. I was, like, very disrespectful, so I couldn't see them as systems. So
Yeah.
that's, like, the thing I would say now, and I've gotten better at it. He's a college junior now, so it's easier because he doesn't live with me, so the
Right.
best but
Yep.
there are, like, obviously, they live in your house, they have to follow your rules, but maybe they do have a system, and you just need to look harder
Mhm. Or ask.
or
Just
ask. I know,
ask.
I love your idea of that.
Just ask.
I don't know if that, because I know his answer to everything, and I don't know if this is a PDA or thing, but literally anything, the answer was, I don't know,
Hmm.
with an eye roll. So I think I can do it. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that wasn't helpful. I like that
Yeah.
you're saying ask. Maybe if I asked earlier, because maybe
Mhm.
I don't know meant you're not going to listen to me anyway. So I'm not going to
Yeah.
spend cycles on this.
Hmm. Hmm.
But
Yeah.
like to
When
my
we
credit, I just
shift.
didn't see it. I didn't see it. I was like,
Hmm.
but my way's so good. So,
And we're taught that there are specific ways to do things. Like culturally, we're taught that you need to put your stuff away, that we don't want to see clutter. Now, I'm like you. If everything isn't like, I even have this symmetrical need that is mind blowing. Like, I can't get one hand wet and not get the other hand wet. And so, like, I need things so organized and put away, but I don't have that kid. And I don't have anyone in my household actually that's like that but me. And so it was
right, right.
very hard to shift this need, where do we draw the line between each person's needs? My nervous system needs it to be all put away. Their nervous system needs it to be in the way that works for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so who who sort of wins in those
Mm-hmm.
situations? And I think a lot of times it needs to be our kids because they're
Yeah.
struggling and we need to help them with that struggle. We need to help them figure out their systems or whatever they're going to call
Mm-hmm.
them so that they can be successful, right?
I
I
think
mean,
the because what, like, in theory, we're older than them.
mhm,
And so I think the growth opportunity, and I have had some moments of like great joy in the discovery, is being curious about, maybe, as crazy as it sounds, maybe this way could work for me.
mm,
Right. So, like, maybe throwing my clothes on the floor could work. Like,
yeah,
that sounds like it literally is dysregulating. Like, it's
uh-huh,
like so crazy making. But if I can shift my thinking into curiosity and be like, but what if I just embrace that possibility? It doesn't mean I'm going to do it, but can I like walk a mile in somebody else? Can I inhabit? Who would I be if that was comforting?
mhm,
And then, obviously, if your pile is in my living room, now I'm going to draw a boundary. But if it's in
right,
your room, maybe I don't have to say, clean up your room.
mhm,
Like, maybe I do. The glasses, all of my glasses left my kitchen and were in my child's room. How could there be that many drinking glasses? I don't
yep,
know.
yep,
And so, for me, the choice I made, this is not every parent's choice, but for me, I was like, I would rather go in the room and grab the glasses and bring them to the kitchen myself. I can see the argument many ways, but I was like, I don't want to have this fight. Someday he'll have his own house, and if he wants to have glasses in his room, he can. I don't want glasses in his room because then I don't have anything to drink out of.
right,
So
mm,
for me, I'm getting the glasses for me. That's kind of how I shifted, is like, yeah, I guess I'm supposed to teach him right from wrong and put your glasses away. But ultimately, what do I care? I'm not going to live with him when he's an adult, I hope. So
right,
that's kind of where I guess it's like a pick your battles thing.
mhm,
But one of the great
totally,
moments of joy I wanted to share is, the rule for me, I don't know where I learned this. I'm sure I'm right though, was that when you go to on vacation, you must maximize the money you have spent. So you have paid for
mm,
flights and hotel. You
yep,
will get up early. You will do all the activities
mhm, mhm, yep,
from sunrise until, dusk, long after dark. And you will fill the day with 4 to 8 activities. Like, I was like,
yep,
we're doing this, then this. I also like to write it and color code it and include pictures. And before we would go on trips, I'd make a little book, because once I read that, like, you get all the um, joy out of planning a trip, that you do from actually having it. So I am an amazing trip planner. And then one day, I don't know if I asked him or if he just told me, but it was in the era when I was practicing respect and just like this curiosity and like maybe his way is fine.
Yeah.
This was one of the ways I tricked my mind. I kept saying to myself, if he was 30 and had his own house, would this be okay? So
Mm,
that was like, I just kept asking myself that. He was not 30, by the way, and I was paying all the bills, but I just
right.
kept like do it. So anyway, we planned a trip that was so expensive to the Amalfi Coast in Italy.
Mm,
And I think it was my 50th birthday trip. And I had packed it to the gills and I showed it to him. And he was like, I really don't want to do more than one thing a day. And I was like, I will never get my money's worth.
yeah.
Also, it's my 50th birthday. Like
Mhm.
we will like literally we landed at the airport after an all-nighter and I was like at the Coliseum, like fighting with the lion, throwing the Christians to the lions. Like I was like, let's go. Anyway, when we in Rome, I kept my schedule, but once we got down to the Amalfi Coast, I cleared everything off the schedule, which is his preferred way to travel. So much serendipity happened. So much just like hang time and great conversations where we weren't talking about the logistics of getting to the next
Yeah.
activity.
Yeah.
We
Stressing.
met random people. My child does not speak Italian, but he just spontaneously decided he could speak Italian. Like he can't, but he did. I don't know how to explain this, but he would just meet people and start saying words in Italian. And I
Uh,
was like, but you don't speak Italian. So he was just like, wanted to connect so much that he sort of discovered the Italian language. Like we met so many strangers that we never would have met. And it was not my way. Like I literally thought it was the wrong way to do a vacation. And now I have a trip with my daughter, my neurotypical daughter, to Venice next week. And I planned everything to the letter. And I slightly heard something in her voice. She's really stressed out about some things in her life. And I was like, do you just want to hang out by the pool at the hotel? Like, we're going to Venice. We should do
right.
all the things in Venice.
Right.
I canceled everything except for
Wow.
a massage at the hotel. Now, that doesn't mean we won't do anything. It
Mhm.
just means by having that little bit of curiosity that I like have opened something new in me over 50 because I was willing to
Yeah.
consider that just because it seemed right to me, there could be another thing equally right.
Yeah. Yeah. There's more than one way to do things. There's
Yeah,
more than one way. Yeah. Oh,
it's
we've had the
crazy.
same vacation battles too. You know, I'm like, we got to see everything. We're going to this place. We got to do all the things. We got to see all the things. And I'll tell you, the best vacation we ever had was when we went to an island and we were actually in a tent, which none of us liked, but the beach was amazing and there was no plan. Every day we woke
Mm,
up, what do you want to do? And we just enjoyed where we were. And like the tent part was horrendous, but still it's everybody's favorite
mm,
because we were just, going with what was happening. My kid, when he was young, his happy place was definitely the beach. He could just
mm.
be energetic and free, and nobody was going to correct him and tell him to calm down and all the things, you know.
Yeah.
And it was just, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of wisdom in really getting curious and noticing what our kids are sort of signaling. Maybe they can't tell us what system will work. Maybe they can't tell us what they want to do and don't want to do,
Mhm.
but there are clues. There are always
Yeah.
clues.
Sophia kept saying, like, I would send her, like, does this cooking class look good? Do you want to go to the blowing glass exposition? Like, do you want to do this? Whatever I sent, she's like very positive, and she's like, that looks great. That looks great. And then every time I said, what do you want to do? She kept saying, all I care about is my tan. And I was like, well, if Venice isn't real, Venice isn't like famous for tanning. Like, we're not going to the Greek Isles. Like, it's famous for art. We're going to see art. Like, let's get on board.
Yeah.
Cooking, art, dinners. And then I was like, why not? We could literally go to Venice and sit by a pool and the world will not end.
Yep.
This is very hard for my brain because the art.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but
Because
what I
it's
really want is for her to
discomfort for you.
relax and open up. And so, yeah, so I think that's it, right? It's like, it's much more comfortable to me to be heavily scheduled. But my other goal is to connect with my child on a deep level.
Yep.
And so I'm like, ooh, my best way of connecting and really hearing what's going on is sitting by the pool, which sitting by the pool with the view of Venice, not the worst thing. It's a rooftop pool in an island
No.
off the coast of Venice. Yeah, it's going
Yep.
to be fine.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's it. I think it's like curiosity about what we need, curiosity about what our kids are communicating, and then the like healthy boundaries. Like, I obviously wouldn't do that if I thought it was going to be harmful to me or not meet my goals.
Right.
But yeah, but I can loosen, like, I am not chill. I have like no chill, but I can loosen up a little because it meets another goal. And I think that's part of the journey. And if you're listening to this and you're not there and you really want to organize your kid's room, like, that's fine too. Because you've got to take care of yourself, like oxygen over your own nose and mouth first.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whatever's going to help you get to the next day. Sometimes when you got to, I had two they're Irish twins. So they're only six, they're like 360 days apart, 359 days
Wow.
apart. So I had two littles and we had to sometimes just make it to the next hour, never mind the
Yeah.
next day.
Yeah. 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 It has to be about both. It has to be about us too, not just our kids, because
Mm-hmm.
how we feel actually impacts how they feel and how they're doing too.
Yeah, exactly.
Any final words of wisdom, anything you want to leave the parents, the educators, the adults who are listening with?
Yeah. I think it's that flexibility that not only are your kids going to change as they grow up, or your classroom dynamics will change as you get different combinations of kids, but your needs will change. And
Mm.
so building systems, this is like my greatest hack in life. Into every system I build is iteration. So the way this system works is the system gets reviewed depending on what it is, but gets reviewed once a year, once a month, once every 3 months. That is actually built into it. So for instance, with our podcast network, just as an example, all my creators are neurodivergent. When most people think of a podcast, they think it's a show I do every week forever, or that plays every week, even if I record it in batches. The way we do our shows is we do seasons. So we do 4 seasons a year: winter, fall, summer, spring. Each season, you can have up to 12 podcasts. So you can have anywhere from 0 to 12. If you do 4 seasons of 12 podcasts, you have a year-long podcast.
Yeah.
But every 3 months, they have to re-sign a contract. So we have like a master services agreement, and then they get just an update that says, how many shows do you want to do this quarter? 0 to 12. And you pick a number, and there's a deadline that they're due by. And if you want to take the summer off because you have kids, you could just take the summer
Mm.
off and you don't have to quit. If you want to take the summer off because you have knee surgery, that's fine. If you're super free because you just lost your job and you want to make 12 episodes and use it to start your own company, you could do that. But built into the structure of our company is that everyone rethinks what they're doing every 3 months.
Mm. Yeah.
And so how can you build in that the rule is that everything changes?
Yeah.
Because that is
Yeah.
the rule. That's the
Hmm.
rule. Surprise.
Yeah, that flexibility is important, but
Hmm.
also just reevaluating, like, is this still working? Is this not
Hmm.
working? Giving our kids a chance every so often to
Well,
have
like
some input.
schools. So I think a lot of us, depending on, what state you live in or country or whatever, but your kid's going to a different high school, in most cases, a different junior high or middle school, a different elementary school. But did you know you could reevaluate more often than that?
Mm,
Like if the school isn't, we're now maybe not the middle of the school year because that's sort of chaotic and hard on everyone's commutes and whatever. But if you didn't have a good school experience last year, you can pick a different school this year. People do that.
yeah.
And you might not know that because all of your kids went to DL Middle School, but this one doesn't have to.
Hmm. Things can be different and different is
Yeah.
good. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Angela. Will you tell everybody where they can find you online? I'm going to link it up in the show notes as well, but let's point them in the right direction.
Excellent. Yes. So the best place to find me is at Autistic Culture Podcast Network.com. Autistic Culture Podcast Network.com. And that has all the shows and also a link to my personal page, which is angelakingdon.com if you just want to find me.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. It was lovely to chat with you. I had a good time.
Me too. Thanks for having me, Penny. Bye.
I'll see everybody next time. Take good care.